It's hard to tell, but obviously I'm in a parking lot, and the reason I'm in a parking lot is because I had that dreaded P261b code come on, and so I just reset it, and basically I'm just driving around with this code reader in place. And so this code reader is very basic. I paid like 10 bucks for it. All it really does is reads the code and lets you reset the codes. Nothing more than that. So some of these code readers you can get that'll have like an ABS system on it. And so I would drive about 2 or 3 blocks and that code would come back up. So that code P261b apparently is a water pump code. And so when that water pump goes out, obviously it's going to heat up your car because your engine cannot cool off. You have electric motors and a gas engine in here. But so one thing that I was doing to activate it was just driving it kind of aggressively to see if I can activate it. And I've already reset it 2 or 3 times. I just came from downtown Fort Worth. I'm out here off of Beach and 121, so not very far, about 3 or 4 miles. I did have this code come up yesterday too, and I drove a decent amount. This damn thing says seatbelt. Of course, when you try to pull your seatbelt, it locks itself in, so it doesn't make sense. It's trying to tell you put on your seatbelt, but it doesn't allow you to actually do it. So anyways, I saw some videos and saw one that is super easy to change out that water pump. The hardest part is containing all the fluid. The antifreeze you're going to pull out of it, and a gallon of antifreeze for this Toyota Camry 2013 is about $20 a gallon, so it's not super expensive. The odd thing that I thought was weird was that the light came on once or twice yesterday but went back off, and I never had any problems. So you can see I'm going about 60 miles an hour, and now I've driven about 4 or 5 blocks now. It's hard for you to tell, but I've been driving a decent amount now. And so the check engine light has not come back on. In fact, you know what? Let me take, this is my exit, but there's another way to get around and go down to the next exit. And so you can tell that I've driven a little bit from the mileage there, and I've not had any problems. And so my solution was not, first off, I'm going to turn the AC on and set it up such that it is wanting the most amount, well, technical electricity, because this thing is run off of electricity, not off the horsepower from the engine. Jeez Louise, look how freaking dangerous that is. Crap. What the heck are these guys doing? But so I've driven now about 2 miles, where before I would drive 1 mile and the darn light would go back on. And so I didn't plan this out too well, but all I was really wanting to show you was there's a giant connector. It's got 4 wires on it. 2 of them are fairly thick, and that's the power wire. And then the 2 other wires are going to be your relay wires that activate the pump. So like I said, I was having a problem where I left Fort Worth and I had to stop because the water pump just was not staying on per se. This little check engine light on this side would come on, and then the emergency triangle, yellow emergency triangle would come on up here. And so now I've driven a decent amount, about a mile or so, maybe 2 or 3, and I still don't have that. And I'm going pretty fast on purpose. Kind of dangerous here, so we're going up to a turn, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit. At this point, I would put it in the that B for the battery on that shifter to collect all the momentum and electricity. But because I have the camera on my phone, I'm not doing that. So the whole point of the video is really just to show you that I did reset the code, but I don't have this check engine light come back on, which is great news because I've already spent hundreds of dollars on refurbishing the battery, and so I didn't want to have one more darn problem. And it's working great. Let's see if we can catch the speed just to force that. Roll up all the windows here. Catch the speed just to force that water pump or the engine to get hot and activate the water pump. So I really don't know if it happened before or after, but I did end up washing the vehicle, and after I washed the vehicle, I definitely had the code come on. But also, I just refurbished the battery, and I have a video on that. You can watch that. But it was that day or the next day that code came on. So that was just too coincidental for me. And I just made a mental note that code came on after I fixed the battery. And also, I believe it happened after I power washed the engine bay and the vehicle itself. But obviously, more importantly, the engine bay. And that's it. It's not coming on. So that water pump is super easy to come off. There's a couple of major details you want to keep in mind, just to make the ease of the change easy, if you will. And that is to pull out the seals that are on the water pump. There's one on the shaft, a little O-ring about the size of a quarter, and then the seal that actually seals the water pump to the face of the water pump intake manifold or whatnot manifold. It's like a giant rubber band in the shape of the water pump. And so I'm just talking to buy time because you can see the check engine light still has not come back on. Here's the coder, it's about to fall. And I'm using one hand for the camera and one for the steering wheel. So I haven't reset anything. But my fix to this was to disconnect the contact, and I saw that there was oxidation on the contact. I call it oxidation. So you see the little turquoise powder stuff buildup, which happens when you have copper, but also when you have copper touching other metals. So if there's like a blend of metals that are used for the contacts, it's going to do that. And it's also the reason that cars are no longer positive ground. They are now negative ground, because wherever the positive cable touched the metal of the car, it always corroded, and of course that problem started vehicles and batteries dying and stuff. And not that the battery technology was all that great back, in the 1900s, early 1900s, mid 1900s. See that little light right there? It's just the electric vehicle light. Definitely a good thing. That's why it's green. Seems kind of corny to have that extra light there, but I guess you get used to it. The first time I saw it, I thought I was just accustomed to thinking lights are emergencies, or red lights are the emergency lights. Like stop the car, it's gonna do something. But I've learned that so long that a vehicle has motor oil, coolant, and transmission fluid, obviously gas, those four fluids will generally keep your car safe enough to get home so you can get checked out, and in some cases will just keep the car running. So as long as you don't have a major leak and you still have those four fluids, your car should be able to function normally. Obviously at that point you're going to have to be pretty aware of what the vehicle is telling you, and that it's not overheating, it's not doing a whole metal to metal thing. So if your engine has no motor oil, it's going to grind all the components inside the engine. So this is my favorite place to freaking eat. It's super cheap and it's so good. The salsas are spicy just right, and the prices are very reasonable. So I think we fixed the problem, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel the order. I tell you that because the AutoZone water pump is $400 and Amazon is $80. Thanks for watching. Bye.